Hi, and welcome back to Rooted at Badger Rock's virtual workshop series. My name is Forrest Smart. We're up here in the Badger Rock kitchen right now, or the culinary lab, and today we're going to be doing a little cooking recipe. So we've got some of our freshly harvested produce from our garden. We got some okra here today, we got some green beans, we got some cucumbers, and what better way of trying to do a recipe than trying to preserve your food too. So we're going to be doing a little bit of food preservation. We're going to be making some refrigerator pickles today. Pickling can be a couple of different ways. Refrigerated pickles, I think, are the easiest way. They're just going to be our veggies submerged into a vinegar brine. You can use white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or whatever kind of vinegar you like. But basically, we're just going to be stuffing them into some mason jars, putting some spices and some herbs in there, a couple other things from our garden as well. Making our vinegar brine, and then we'll be submerging them all in there, all together in our mason jars. And then we're just going to pop them into the cooler or into the refrigerator where they'll be good, maybe up to about 2 weeks. But I'd say you want to at least let them sit in the refrigerator for at least a day for sure. Longer they go, longer they sit in the fridge, the more they'll soak up all that flavor, the vinegar, and any of the herbs you have in there. But yeah, it's a really easy way. You can also do pickles by doing this method, but then you just make sure you get sterilized jars, and you can actually can your pickles, extend their shelf life maybe up to like past a year if you actually do the canning process. We don't have our canners and all of our equipment up here today, so we're just gonna make an easy refrigerator pickle. So we'll get started. We'll make the brine right away. We're gonna start out with our pot. We're gonna do about a little over a cup's worth of vinegar. And then we're going to do about 2 cups of water. So I got my white vinegar right here, white distilled vinegar. We'll start off with just a cup. I'll do just a little bit over, maybe like a cup and a quarter or so. Oh, that one. Put that over there. We got some water. So I'll do 2 cups of water here. This recipe should do maybe about 2 quart jars worth of just regular pickles if you're doing just one. I have 3 ingredients here today that I'm going to be pickling, so I have 3 jars. So I think this should be about enough brine just to fill up just these 3 jars today. So we got our 2 cups of water, a little over a cup of vinegar in there, and now we're going to put some pickling salt. So pickling salt, you can use kosher salt as well. Pickling salt tends to just be a little bit more coarser. You tend to not need as much. So if you have like maybe a tablespoon of pickling salt, maybe about a tablespoon and a half, a tablespoon and a quarter tablespoon of kosher salt will do as well. So we got some kosher salt. I'm gonna do about a tablespoon. So come out quicker. Come on. All right, we'll do 1 tablespoon there. And I think we're gonna add some sugar to this one too, and give it a little bit of extra sweetness. So we'll actually do one more salt, and then we'll do 1 of sugar as well. And get the salt to come out. A couple extra shakes won't hurt either. All right, so I think with the extra shakes, I think that'll work. So pick some salt. Now we're gonna do sugar. So I just got some granulated sugar here. I'll do about a tablespoon as well of this. Tablespoon of sugar. So now we have our brine. We got water, vinegar, salt, and sugar. And then we're just gonna bring this up to a boil. So I'll put this on our burner. Get this on high, get this going on a boil. While that gets going, I'm gonna prep our veggies. So the first one we got, very simple. We have our okra, harvested right here from our Badger Rock garden. I got some bigger spears here. Sometimes you want your okra to be a little bit smaller, maybe about like the size of your thumb is usually around what we go for when we're harvesting. Once they get a little bit bigger, they tend to get a little bit tougher, maybe a little woodier tasting. But I think once we pickle these though, it's gonna kind of soften up the skin too. So I think it'll actually be really good with these slightly bigger ones. But for these ones, we're gonna start with our jar. We're gonna add 1 clove of garlic. Peel the skin off of it. Pop that right in here. I like to add a little bit of spice to mine, so we got some red chili flakes. Maybe just like a half a teaspoon of that. A little bit of spice. We got some dill. As you know, always dill pickles are a very popular item. So we got some dill flowers right here. Maybe throw a little dill frond in there too. Just kind of one of each. So we'll stuff that in there. And then I think, let's see, I might have to chop my okra actually because I don't have quart jars. I only have a pint jar, and therefore I'm gonna have to try to get these in there. So I'll do that in just a second. What else was I getting in there? I got dill. Oh, I kind of forgot to take this out of my pocket, but I actually have some coriander seeds. We had some cilantro grown in our garden that just went to seed. So now we actually have some fresh coriander seeds we can add to this too. The pocket provides sometimes, I guess. So we'll just add a few of these as well. Get some of that good flavor, that fresh flavor in there. All right, now let's see if these will stiff in there. Oh, this one will fit. These ones maybe I'll chop off just the tips for now. Some of this end. There we go. See if we can't stuff all these in here. All right, got a couple more. I think we can fit them all. All right, last one. Yep. And as always, you want to make sure you rinse your veggies before you put them in. Make sure you don't have any dirt or anything like that as well. Especially if you're going to be canning, you really don't want any of that extra kind of bacteria or anything getting in there. Although canning does help try to prevent a lot of that bacteria from growing. But also a lot of the herbs and kind of flavors that we're going to be adding, like garlic, dill, the coriander seeds, and even red pepper flakes. They all have a lot of good antimicrobial bacteria, properties too. So they actually help with kind of removing or preventing some of those microbes from growing in here too. So we got, I can maybe cut off a little bit of this one. All right, and I think these should be able to fit now. So I got these all packed in there, nice and tight. Got all of our okra in there. And then I'm going to do the same brine for all three of them. So you can always kind of add a little bit of difference if you want, like I said, apple cider vinegar, if you want a different kind of vinegar, add a little more sugar, a little more sweetness to it. But I'm just kind of keeping it with this recipe, make it easy for all three. I just like the flavors of all of these. Oh, I threw in a garlic, but I forgot to peel it. You don't want the skin in there. So take the skin off. Peel the garlic. If I can peel it, there we go. So one garlic clove. Next we will do our green beans. So I'll get these out. I'll throw another dill frond, another dill flower in there as well. Toss these in there. Looks like my brine's just about boiling now too. So I'll turn that down a little bit. And then a few more red pepper flakes to go on. And yeah, we'll try to put all these recipes for the brine in the comments below for anyone who wants some exact measurements and everything too. For the beans, I'm just going to chop off just the little ends of here, the parts where they're coming out the plant, as well as try to save a little bit of space since some of these beans are pretty long. This one especially is very long, so cut some of those off. I even cut it in half. But yeah, I think probably one of my favorite pickles are beans, green beans, pickled green beans. Probably one of the next ones is asparagus. I just really like the crunch that they still have. If you really want a crunchy pickle, I forgot what exactly you can add. You'll have to get back to me on that one. But there are some things you can actually add that help kind of keep the crunchiness to your vegetables even after you pickle them. I think one of them is like tannins, I believe. So tannins are found in a lot of different leaves. So especially like raspberry leaves, certain kind of different tree leaves as well that you can add in. But those tannins just kind of help them from getting so soggy in all your brine. They kind of prevent them from the cell walls breaking down so much. So we got most of our green beans. I'm going to try to see if I can fit most of them in. A couple of these I'll cut in half. Stuffing that in. Let's see if we can fit most of these in here. Ends over here. Yeah, nice and tight. Yeah, another form of pickling that I'm not doing here today, but it actually kind of the more traditional term of pickling is kind of fermenting. So a lot of ones, maybe like kimchi and sauerkraut, that's another form of preservation and fermentation that can be pickled. But we're not doing that today. In order to do that, you don't use a vinegar brine, you just use the water content that's in the produce. So like cabbage is a big one that's usually used for that, for making, like I said, like sauerkraut or kimchi. You just draw out a lot of the moisture with salt, and then the moisture that comes out is what's going to turn into the acidic juices, more or less. So that's what's going to create the pickling process when you do that, just fermentation. So we actually got our water boiling. I'll get that in just a second. And then our last one we're going to make, we got cucumbers. So cucumbers, probably the usual standard pickle of what people think of when they think of a pickle. Again, pickling is just, or pickles is just a term used for preserving vegetables in a brine or in their own kind of fermenting juices. But most people just think of pickles, they think of cucumber pickles. So we're going to make some today. I'm going to do some slices, or no, some spears with this one. So we'll go right down the middle. This one, go right down. Cut a few more. Let's not cut all the way. I'll just cut these in half again so they can fit into our jar. All right, I think I'll just use a couple of these, and then I kind of want to make a few pickle chips as well. So we'll see if we can fit these in there. I'll make sure I eat these as fresh as well. Don't want food to go to waste. And this one, I like using a wavy chopper. You always see like the pickle chips or like pickles you see for like sandwiches or burgers, whatever it may be. So we got a wavy chopper here, and then this can just kind of make some nice little wavy cuts on our vegetables. So here I'll just make a couple slices. Maybe we can fit these in as well with our spears. So just a couple extra fun ways to cut your veggies, making pickles out of them. There was one more jar. Here it is. Again, you're going to start with our garlic. So you peel that first. Ooh, this garlic, maybe I'll use a different one. It's got a little funkiness to it. So yeah, cucumbers, green beans, asparagus, okra, beets. I mean, you can pickle almost most veggies. You kind of want them to be a little bit hardier, obviously. Maybe like leafy greens might not be the best to pickle. But there's like ways, obviously, like I was mentioning, kimchi or sauerkraut. Those you can just use cabbage on. So we got garlic clove in here. Another dill flower and a sprig. Oh, if I can get it out of there. Toss those in there. Just a little bit of red pepper flakes. And then there's one more. Oh yeah, right here. A little bit of our coriander. I forgot if I put some of this into the green bean one. If not, I'll just throw a few extra in just in case. All right, so I'm going to stuff a few of the spears in here first. I'll throw a few of the chips in here. Make sure I got a little bit of space. Yeah, let's make one more chip. So we can't stuff it in there. All right. Getting it all in. So now we have our 3 jars ready to go. Just want to make sure our brine is nice and hot again. Just make sure that's coming up. But yeah, and just making sure we have enough room so our lids can seal. I think these okra might try to stuff a little bit more in there. Again, just so that we can create a good seal so we don't lose any of that flavor. All right, this is bubbling again. Let's see if I can do this a quick mix. All right, so we have our brine. If I can do this without spilling too much. Right over, fill it. A little bit of room, headspace on top. There we go. Trying to get them as submerged as possible. Just a little extra on top. And there we go. That actually worked out really well. That used up just all of my brine perfectly. All right. So now we grab our lids. I might have to push them down a little. So yeah, fill this one. The okra one's a little bit tight, but I think that'll be nice and snug. Fit the okra in that one. Got our green beans. Some tight. We got our cucumber slices and spears in this one. All right, and then not tighten them as tight as I can, but just enough to get the rings on them. And so right now we have our pickled okra, pickled green beans, and our pickled cucumbers. We're going to be putting these into the fridge. We want these to cool down, obviously, and we want these to sit for at least about a day, maybe up to a week or so, I'd say, just to kind of let all that flavor really get into all the veggies. And yeah, these will be good in the refrigerator for about 2 weeks once you pop them open. And they're going to be just a nice sour, kind of a little bit of sweet, nice and tangy. And from the ingredients I put in here, you're going to have a lot of good herbal flavors in there. A little bit of spice with that red pepper flakes too. So those are just how I like to make my pickles, especially. I've really gotten more into making pickles, especially working within the garden a lot more. Just kind of learning to appreciate those different flavors, those infused flavors. Finding different ways to eat and preserve our veggies is always something we're looking to get better at and follow our strengths in. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share with you all today. We'll try these out maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, or maybe in 2 weeks. Who knows? Or maybe if we wanted to, we could can these. But although I think I'd probably want to use some sterilized jars. These were cleaned and everything, but I would just want to make sure you sterilize them, like boil them for a few minutes in boiling water before you actually can them. But yeah, that's all I wanted to show you today. Let us know how your pickles go, or if you guys have some cool recipes that you like using too. And what else do you like to pickle? You know, send us what you like to do. And we will catch you around for our next one. Until then, have a good day.